That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money and defeat you.
All right, everybody. Hey, it's Jason Calacanis. This is This Week in Startups. It's our news roundtable. As you know, this is the program where we talk about technology, startups, all that kind of great stuff. And once a week, we do a news roundtable. We talk about what's in the news, and we do founder interviews as well. Today on the program, Liz Gannes is with us. She's from Recode. Welcome back to the program, Liz. And we got you in person finally.
Yes, in person. And first time with Recode, too.
And the first time with Recode, right. Congratulations. You're 20 days into the new startup.
Yeah, who's counting?
Who's counting, but you're 21 days in. Does it feel any different, or it's just the same? It's the same team, just a different website.
Well, we've added 5 people to our team
really?
so far. Starting, well, some of them are just starting now, but yeah, so it's same team, same tools, same goals, but bigger.
You have a new office?
Nope.
Same office?
Not yet.
Not yet, no.
We will need one soon with the people.
But you don't have like the News Corp people coming in and editing your pieces anymore and
That
killing
never
pieces
happens.
and all that kind of stuff.
That never happens.
I know, I'm joking. But
No, it was fun. When I was at CES, I got a little taste of Molly's world with going on NBC and doing more TV stuff, which we
Yeah.
did not do with News Corp.
right, yeah. They had their own video kind of stuff at the Wall Street
Yeah,
Journal.
but now we're doing all sorts of these,
Junkets.
look pretty today kind of.
Yeah. Well, you're good at it. You're good at the TV
I like
stuff.
writing things and then hitting publish.
Right? You're not. It seems like today, to be a journalist, you have to be willing to be on TV as well.
If you commit to that, like if you realize that,
Yeah.
it goes a long way, I think.
It does in terms of building a brand. And Molly Wood is with us, previously of an unnamed podcast that sort of never materialized, and before that, CNET. And last we spoke, when you were on the program, you were committed to being a freelancer.
Yep.
You were never going to work for a big company again. And then I wake up and Molly Wood is a senior columnist for this startup publication out of New York called the New York Times, apparently. So tell us about this New York Times startup. How did this wind up happening? I thought you were committed to not being.
You know what? I just really think they're going to go somewhere.
You do?
Yeah, I think
Potential?
I think there's a lot of potential there. I don't see it as an acquisition
What's
target.
their URL?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I was totally not going to take a job unless that job is the New York Times, and then everybody in your life goes, "Hey, don't be an idiot."
Right.
So, I mean, it was, like I said last time I was on the show, I had a lot more bubbles in my bath than I thought I did. And the New York Times is, and this is a new position there.
Right.
Deputy technology editor. So I'll be writing, doing video, doing all of the many of the things I did before, but with a much heavier emphasis on writing, which I wanted. And then I get to meddle, I get to suggest, I get to
Right.
help guide the personal tech coverage. And it's exciting.
So you'll be doing a lot of consumer stuff, I take it? I mean, you did that Mac Pro, great story on the Mac Pro a couple
Thanks.
weeks ago.
Thank
That's
you.
probably one of the best reviews I saw of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was the review. I read like 3 reviews of it, and I liked yours the most because I think you had like a video editor actually using it, and you actually put the product through its tests. But so more stuff like that?
Yeah, so my primary responsibility will be personal technology. Sometimes reviews, sometimes sort of forward-facing commentary, and in some ways the role is like up for shaping.
Yeah.
But by me, and I couldn't be more
Seems
excited.
like musical chairs in the tech journalism space, and tech journalism just seems to be doing so well. There's so many options for tech journalists to work at places, and yeah.
I feel like our space is so dishy right now. It's just been like
Is
it's
anybody at
the
their
best
job?
time to be a journalist right now.
It is kind of crazy, and it
There's
it
going to be a
feels.
crash, right? Bubble, bubble, bubble.
Well, I mean, it almost seems like the number of
It's a
tech
thing you have to say.
the number of tech journalists and tech publications does seem to be an early indicator of maybe the space getting a little bubbly, but it doesn't feel bubbly
Well,
if
but
the
your
revenue's
musical
so
chairs
real.
is different than,
True.
I mean, there are a lot of people changing publications.
But it also seems like they're expanding, right? So
Because there
Recode
are
added
more.
5 people.
Right.
You have Pando Daily, and The Information has new entries in the last year or so, or a year and a half maybe for Pando. And then many more positions. So when AllThingsD shuttered and Recode launched, it did seem like the journal added a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of hiring going on. I mean, I think that it took a really long time for the kind of aging print publications to try digital, to be hybrid, for it not to work for a lot of them, and then for that whole generation of startups. Like I started at GigaOM in 2006,
Yeah.
and at that time there were a ton of things starting too, and they all were itty bitty, and some of them got huge, and
Yeah.
that kind of
The
worked
Engadget, Mashables of the
yeah,
world.
exactly. To like
Even AllThingsD, yeah.
sure to
Well,
try
and then
an
the-
online-only publication.
Right.
So I feel like this is like the second generation of that, where it's like, okay, well, this really makes sense. Let's try it again.
And now their proper publications and the aging news organizations are
The ones
beefing
who have
up.
actually stuck
And it's
around are
Really,
doing
you know, I
better.
mean, it's only a bubble because there's a tech bubble, right?
Right.
It's a bubble that's following the. It's not even a bubble. It's just that tech is life. And so it has to become a bigger part of journalistic coverage. And all of these online pubs, I think, had a jump start. So now there's like there is a land grab on for tech coverage because it's super crowded.
But I like what you said about tech is now life coverage, because so many of these.
It's not like it's not all the early adopter stuff. It's not the people who care about every single release. It's like everyone has a smartphone. Most
Everybody
everyone.
uses Uber, and let's go into our first story: Google acquiring Nest for $3.2 billion.
Yeah.
Nest
Not
will
everyone has a smart thermostat yet, but
but that is.
they can relate to it.
And it seems like what do these things cost? $200 or something? I bought them. I bought everybody in my family.
I think it's less than that actually.
Yeah, 169. I bought everybody in my family a Nest, smoke detector, and a thermostat. And my brother's an electrician, so now Calacanis Electric in New York. A plug for my little brother.
He's like, "Thanks a lot."
He's installing all these Nests. I tweeted, and then like 5 people say like install a Nest. But why did
good.
Google buy this? I mean, and everybody wants this, obviously, this automated home. But it seems like this is something that Google shouldn't have bought. Seems like Apple's purchase. Why did Google buy this?
Oh, I think Google is. Neither of those two companies are close to a true smart home solution, but
Right.
Google at least has dabbled in that direction. They did the Android at home thing, and they were
Kind of.
at least attempting to build sort of standards on the technical side that would help companies connect their smart appliances and smart devices together. And so it makes sense for them to get, if they're going to stay in smart home, it makes sense for them to get in this way. I personally found this acquisition totally disappointing because I really liked Nest as an independent innovator.
Right.
And Google has such a long history of not following through that I was like, I really don't want to see such a great, exciting company just like languish.
Right. And you think that's what might happen?
Doesn't it always?
But
With
you kind
everything
of-
that Google buys just kind of goes
Well,
like,
no, I mean,
Well,
the
YouTube.
example is YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube
right?
is the counterexample, but you
But
do
also,
have
you get
Bark and everything else they bought being shut down.
Yeah, and I feel like I almost feel like bad for people who might be trying this within Google, Android at home. Don't feel bad for anyone who works at Google, but like the idea that I think actually Nest will probably get more reign because they have Tony Fadell, they have a leader that's reporting directly to Larry Page. That's a lot bigger deal than some little unit sprouts up within the company.
it's true, and it's not like a Motorola purchase where it was a company that wasn't doing so well and they have to try to reframe it. It's a company that's totally kicking butt, like
But
YouTube
there's
was.
multiple reasons for it, and I honestly don't know which is the number one reason. I think one is you have to get into the smart home. Two is you have, it's a great team. It's some people call them the best startup hardware. I think a lot of people would call them the best startup hardware team in the industry.
It would be up between them and Jawbone, I guess.
Right.
Would be the two top ones.
And then the third thing is the Motorola comparison. So the competitive, the larger pieces of the industry shaping up together, and definitely keeping them from other people could be useful. But I mean, Nest was a promising company, but they got $3.2 billion in cash.
Yeah,
And
I
it
mean,
was-
nobody says no to that.
The company was probably, this is what I heard, the company's probably worth $1 billion, so they paid $2 billion for Tony Fadell.
Yeah.
And Tony previously worked at Apple, and Tim Cook has unfollowed on Twitter. This is the big story on
was
The
it Tim-
Verge.
I saw Phil Schiller did. Tim Cook did too.
I think Tim Cook and Phil Schiller have
How is
unfollowed
it
him.
possible that
What?
these people are leaders of multinational companies? Like this is
The largest
remember,
companies in the
like,
world.
Jack Dorsey stopped Instagramming after Facebook
Yes.
bought it. Like these.
That's good though because it was all sunsets, and I mean,
Yes,
Boring.
and poetry.
earnest person is all I'm saying.
It's just like the level of emotional maturity, I guess, is not very high to be a senior executive.
You
at one of these
sold a
companies.
company for $3 billion to Google. Unfollow. I'll get back at you. This will
know.
even the score.
I don't want to see you in my feed.
Well, and that's the other, I mean, great. Like, look, Nest is probably they're going to get all the funding that they need. They have a much higher profile now.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable, and I'm not raising this as a privacy bugaboo, but it's a remarkable opportunity for Google to collect a lot of different kinds of data
No,
that
you
are
should raise
useful
that.
in terms
You
of
should raise
development.
that.
I mean, I think there are legitimate privacy concerns. I don't want it to be like super scary, but there is a ton of fascinating data that can be collected by these
Why should
thermostats
you
that can
bring it
help
up,
Google
Liz? What is
invest in the smart grid. But yeah, like
You should bring this up
they're also
because
in your
Google
house.
owns everything.
Right.
Google is everywhere.
Right.
And it's unavoidable. And sure, it would be nice if Google knew when I woke up in the morning because I turned the heat up or,
You walked by it.
whatever I did. Yeah. And so therefore then it can start sending me my Google Now notifications about now you need to leave for your meeting.
Right.
There's all these little sensors that they're getting deeper into our lives and now into our home, right?
Right. Now, does this mean Google catches up to a certain extent with Apple in terms of design prowess? Because let's face it, they're getting better at making products. Like the Chromebook Pixel was kind of nice, and I don't know if you guys played with that, or the Moto X was certainly a beautiful phone, if not underpowered. But now you have like Tony Fadell is, some people consider the sort of heir to Steve Jobs. Like maybe this guy is like the best product design person. Does this just like catch Google up to Apple or get them?
No, I mean, I think he has to work on Nest
has
products
to work on
for the
Nest.
foreseeable future. And I
Do you
don't
think? Do you think he'll become the chief design officer?
Oh, no, I don't think that maybe they can pull that in a couple years, but
Yeah.
I think it would be a crazy use of $3.2 billion to yank him out of his company and put him on different projects.
Because they only have 2 products. There's still so much growth
In
for
the
Nest,
pipeline.
in the pipeline. But I guess the vision of the future that you just described, I love, right? I actually do want the sensors all over my house that know when I get up and start serving me notifications and tell me that I need to leave for my meeting and start the car in the garage and all of that to happen. And Google is working really diligently toward collecting all of the pieces, but I just do not have the confidence that they are the company to pull it off. I don't think they have their stuff together.
And I also don't think you can say at this point that Nest is the perfect company. I mean, they're or the perfect one to do
Sure.
it independently. They're small. I don't have a Nest at home myself, but I was just hearing about how I guess they had this really faulty firmware update, and when you get a faulty firmware update on your smart thermostat, apparently there's no manual override, and so when it's cold, when there's a
Yeah,
polar
somebody had their
vortex
pipes
or whatever,
burst.
yeah,
And
I mean
there's been problems.
yeah, and
They're not perfect.
So I wouldn't say like go do the Chromebook now,
Yeah.
go do this other thing right away. Like,
But the ambition level is
there's a
just
point of
off the
focus.
charts with these guys. I mean,
Yeah.
now they buy this. I think they're going to buy Tesla next. I mean, I think they're going to have the car, so they're going to.
Are you an investor in Tesla?
I am not. I had some shares at the IPO and I sold them, and I did like an idiot. I was like, well, this company is now trading at 2.5 times the IPO price. I'll sell these and pay for the 2 Teslas I have, and then the stock proceeds to go to about 200.
Okay, so since you're not an investor, but you're somewhat partisan, right?
I'm
you're
super
Tesla.
partisan. I'm a
Okay.
super fan. I have the first
Do you think
one.
that's feasible that Google would buy them? I mean, it would be
I
pretty
think it's-
interesting
I
because they
think it's
haven't
the-
been able to convince any
Yeah.
car maker to bring the self-driving
A car
to
maker
market.
can't buy them because they're
But
worth
Google
too much.
has not been able to get anyone
Yeah, Google's
on
not
board
going to
yet
get the
to
car
make a car.
makers. This is the thing. If
That
you're
we
a
know
car
of.
maker, would you give up the dashboard? I mean, it's really dangerous to do that. Like, that's the whole car. That's the whole future of the car. So I don't think that they're going to get many people to really embrace it. So
But
I think they can afford it. And I think Larry obviously covets it. So if he
what a
covets
So
it,
many
Boondoggle.
people at Google drive Teslas. If you go to Palo Alto these days,
it's the Prius
covered with
of
them.
Google.
Yeah.
I think they will buy it, and I think they'll buy it for 30 or 40 billion. And I think it will be, because think about it this way: who's going to put that Google self-driving?
You're going and buying the stock right now. Like you
Nah,
just press the
exactly.
button
No,
in your pocket.
I angel invest. I actually don't
Investor
trade. I don't
tip.
trade public shares. I bought 10,000 shares of Zynga to support Mark Pincus at $3 or whatever. I was just to support a friend to make a public statement. But the truth is, I think that self-driving car stuff they have that's way too expensive, and the autopilot. Like, who's going to put a $20,000 Google self-driving into a Toyota Prius, right? It's not going to happen. But
Well, they're working on their own technology too. I mean,
Right.
Ford and Audi and
Exactly,
BMW,
exactly. So this
Audi
is-
and BMW and Lexus are all far along.
this
Yeah,
removes.
but they
the
call it
whole-
assisted driving, not self-driving.
Yeah,
But that's how you step into it. That's
Yeah,
how you
exactly.
get the regulations
That's clearly
that you
gonna be
need,
the
and that's the way to
autopilot
go.
will be the next way. The
Like
next-
even if Google does buy Tesla and create a self-driving Tesla, they're not going to get it on the road. Like I don't see buying Tesla as a manufacturing sort of play in terms of manufacturing a self-driving car because there are massive regulatory hurdles to doing that.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
but they
there
could
are some-
slowly, like Elon
Then
Musk
they
is
could
putting
stair-step
autopilot
into
in
it.
it, right? Yeah, so
And they're a
they'll meet
competing
at
car
the end,
company.
right?
Yeah.
But how do they just would take out 10 years of trying to make a great product because it already won Car of the Year and Consumer Reports Best Car. So if you can just eliminate that huge risk factor,
Well,
now
and
they
they
have
also
adoption.
they emerged from the most crazy startup funding at the brink of disaster story.
Yeah.
You know, propped up by an individual, propped up by the government. Like,
Right.
I mean, not that many people
I just
made
want
it true.
Tesla to
Companies
win all
make
by
that true.
itself. I don't want Google. Google's like the Borg. Like, I just
It is
don't.
the
It's
Borg.
partly just an emotional reaction. The same with Nest and the idea of them buying Tesla. Like, I just don't want them to absorb anything innovative.
The
and
ambition-
I don't. It's like you put it. It's like they're the mob. Like you put
Yes.
out you do something, and then they notice you, and then they come along and they make you an offer you can't refuse. And it's like, I don't want that to be our world. Like innovation should get to live or die.
But you want your connected home too, right?
I do, but I don't trust Google to give it to me. They do not have it together. Like Google can't even keep its core products working well. Like you don't have any more emoticons and Hangouts, and like Hangouts does 50 million. Like and Gmail's falling apart. Like if I trusted them to be the company that put it all together, then I guess I might be like, okay, be the Borg. But I just don't. I don't have that faith in Google that they're going to execute.
All right, when we get back from commercial break, we'll talk a little bit more about Google winning everything. And let me just take a moment to thank Snap Terms. If you don't have a proper term of service and privacy policy, you are risking costly litigation. And of course, these privacy policies and terms of service, if you go to your lawyer, it's going to cost $5 or $10 grand. I've been there. I've seen many startups I've invested in waste money on this. And it's important to have, so you can't not have it. Well, Snap Terms made a simple, affordable, and fast way to do it. You go online, you pick what type of business you are, and lo and behold, for as little as $299, you've got a proper and affordable term of service. We use it here at This Week in Startups. Go to thisweekinstartups.com/legal, and you'll see our funny, clever terms of service. Go to snapterms.com and get started. Use the promo code TWiST, and you'll get 10% off. And they do custom solutions if you got something more complex, like if you've got a content business or an e-commerce business or a Bitcoin business, they can really tailor it and customize it. It's the best way to do it. Many people who listen to the program have used Snap Terms and love it. And you really don't want to get chased down by one of these attorneys because they'll really put your startup out of business if you don't have a proper terms of service up. And it takes just minutes to do this. So go visit snapterms.com and use the promo code TWiST. And everybody thank @SnapTerms on their Twitter handle. I'm good at reading ads.
Well done.
I'm really proud of my ad reading. I feel like I'm good at it, like it's an odd thing to be good at, but
It's a third.
You're like, I own it.
I think I nailed
Just
that
a
ad.
voiceover.
I think I did.
It's
I don't,
believable. You're not over animated. You're not trying to sell it too hard.
I'm not. I use it, so it's like easy. It's easy. All right, let's do the Bing launch of the week. Speaking of another sponsor, here we go. Hear that in here.
Two-sided.
Look at this, all these great sponsors. Are we back, Brandis? Okay, I'm back. Here we go. Okay, so with me, Liz Gannes from Recode.net. Go check out Recode.net. It's the amazing new tech business news site brought to you by the team that brought you AllThingsD. And I just spent $6,500 going to the conference. Yes. Cha-ching. I got my receipt today. I'm like, really? I'm spending $6,500 to do this? I was like, I got to support my team.
It's so worth it.
It's so worth it. And I basically stay up all night playing cards and make it to like half the sessions. But it's a great conference. Everybody go to the Recode. What's the name of the conference?
It's the Code Conference.
It's the Code Conference.
Yes.
But everybody can't go to it, right? If you have to apply and get approved. I don't think you can just buy off the street.
You just can't go because it's sold out now.
Oh,
But
it's sold
the
out.
only people who could buy tickets
Were the
invited.
legacy alumni.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
600
and
people?
contacts and stuff. Yeah.
About 600
it's pretty
people.
small. It's cool though. I mean, it's maybe not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
It's something. It's one of the only conferences where Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Benioff just sit in the audience and watch the other people talk and
Yeah,
hang
it's
out.
pretty cool. It's really like the highest end CEO conference kind of place. And you could do what I did when I was young, and you could just lobby crash. Did you ever do that when you were younger? Lobby crash at a conference, couldn't afford a
our-
ticket? Molly's like, yeah, I did that a bunch of times.
Press
No
pass.
comment.
Oh, press pass is
I
always
know.
good, yeah.
Kind of press pass is a
Actually,
powerful
no.
thing.
I got press passes to the first couple of D conferences for Engadget, and I covered it
Nice.
for like the Steve Jobs stuff and whatever, and I was just doing journalism. All right, listen, startup of the week. Our first candidate, and you guys are going to vote on this, is contact lens sensor. Swiss scientists have created a flexible, transparent circuit that can fit on the surface of a contact lens. We knew this was coming. Flexible enough to wrap around human hairs and still function. First use case, eye monitoring, safe for patients with glaucoma, but many potential glass-like applications if it works. Thoughts on the contact lens?
Well, it's so interesting to see this because I didn't know about this story, but we had done a big package on the launch by Google last week of their own chip within a
See?
contact lens. And it's like, it's the discovering DNA or whatever. It's like this innovation happens in different corners of the globe at the exact same instant, which is kind of crazy. But so Google's contact lens, I not to bias too early, but I'd have trouble voting for this because it is one of two of these things that launched in the past week, and one of them is from Google.
Right.
Google's not actually going to make it, but they want a partner to help them make a smart contact lens that will monitor the glucose levels in eye fluids, or tear fluids, so that someone doesn't have to prick themselves when they're diabetic.
Which is pretty amazing.
It's
crazy.
remarkable.
Yeah.
It's an awesome world that we live in. I mean, I want this to happen, and then I want the one that's like glass, and I want it to give me the heads-up display of people's social,
Do you guys have
publicly
glass,
available
by the way?
social
I got
information.
glass. I confess I bought it in the second group. It's terrible.
Yeah,
No, I
bought
used
as
it, and it
well.
was terrible, and so I didn't
Well,
buy it.
we
It's
bought it
terrible.
for our
I'm thinking
company.
about sending it back, but I'm like, ugh. And so I have a meeting with one
I
of the
feel
people.
like it's kind of worth having to
Play with?
to see what it's like. But yeah, I have
terrible.
to convince myself to come up with scenarios to wear it for. I was like, oh, I'll wear it on the ski slope and it'll be cool. And then I instead wore the recon goggles, which are specifically for skiing. So it's like you kind of want. It's
How
not
were the
the-
recon goggles? What did they show you on the heads-up
They
display?
show you your speed and the altitude you've gained, and they kind of tabulate it over the course
How
of the
fast were you
day.
going?
See, and I
Skiing.
want that on the
You're boarding or skiing?
Skiing.
Where?
At Squaw Valley.
Okay.
I forget what my top speed was. It was pretty high.
30, 40?
It was 40-ish.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Does it like blink like when you're at 40, like now you're in the death zone? Like this is like 87% chance of death if you hit something.
no, actually, I think it's kind of like going on Strava and trying to get a KOM or something where the machine makes you excited to
wants you
compete
to go
more,
faster.
and you can also send like your rides to your friends and track them on the mountain and stuff. So yeah, the service is not responsible for your terrible behavior, but it might.
But it's going
egg
to
you
encourage
on.
people to go faster. I mean, it's clearly like people are going to want to set records. I know when I got that stupid thing on my bicycle that showed how fast I was going when I was a teenager, I was like, I'm going to see if I can hit 50 going down the hill in Brooklyn. And
Yeah.
There's like an inducement argument to be made for sharing.
well, actually, wasn't there a guy who killed somebody here by Mission Dolores Park because there was an app.
Yes.
We had this on the show. There was an app where people would do specific routes and they would compete with each other.
Strava, the one I just mentioned. Yeah.
What's it called?
Strava.
Strava.
You're not a road biker.
I'm not,
It
Strava.
is the most, like, if you were to ask someone who uses Strava what their favorite app is, they would not let you finish the sentence before they told you Strava.
So STRAVA.
Yeah, but yeah, there's been a couple of deaths associated with the service, and they were actually found not liable in a different one where they were sued by the family of someone who died while possibly trying to set a record in the Berkeley Hills, I think.
Yeah, because they have routes here in San Francisco, and you're like, who has done this route the fastest? But by doing a competition for who's done the route fastest,
Right, that's the KOM, the King of the Mountain,
King of the Mountain is the.
for a segment, in each certain segment within a ride.
But how can they have a King of the Mountain application in there, and it has a speed associated with it, and the speed is
It's
illegal?
breaking the speed limit.
That would be like saying, let's do who can drive around Manhattan fastest in their car, and we're going to have a leaderboard for that. That seems to me that you're in. I mean, I'm a big freedom of speech person, whatever, but
Yeah, I'm surprised you're making this argument.
I do think it's going to. I'm thinking it through. If it's certainly an illegal behavior, and you see everybody on the leaderboard is the top 10 are
Yeah.
all breaking the law, you would seem to be maybe. It's not wise to do it, but I think you should be open to a lawsuit if you did that.
Well, they're certainly getting. I mean, the companies like this are going to get sued a bunch over people's stupid behavior, which pretty much always happens in the world. And it's going to be part of our adjustment, right? Like our whole
Right.
social adjustment to the use of technology. I think probably at some point a company like Strava, just for PR purposes, will have to take some kind of a
Yeah, I don't know
put
if
up a
they've-
disclaimer,
I
right?
shouldn't-
That's like you shouldn't.
Oh, they absolutely have the disclaimer. I
Do
don't
they?
know if they hide segments where people have gone too fast on. But
I
Strava,
wonder.
for example, is one of the first companies that has a Google Glass app, actually, where they do stuff that they don't do in the phone version, which is kind of cool. So having your heads-up display while you're biking, and they actually show you your live segment time, and usually you have to finish a segment to look at it on your phone. But the answer to your
I don't
original
know that in the
question
contact.
is the goggles
what do you
cool.
think?
I
Is
think
it-
the goggles are neat because they're specific to that application, and they're maybe you don't want to spend $650 for that. I don't. I was just using a tester version. I can't see myself buying them. I'm a little bit cheap.
At $650, it's a little outrageous. At $200, it's kind of worth it.
Yeah, and they're coming out with a bike version. So I feel like versus Google Glass, where there's a lot of possibility, but there's also a lot of sitting there wondering, what do I use this for?
Yeah.
The thing I like about the contact lens as like the future of glass, which is what I really want, is that then it's one device, right? Because I don't want to have the ski helmet for that and
Right.
the glass for this and then the other thing for riding the bike. And it'd be like, if I could have contacts that had
Well,
all the
it's
apps and just
Sort of
I
like the
constantly have
smartphone
this.
is getting, like, I don't know if you guys use like Runkeeper or any of these
Yeah.
awesome apps. Like, you can actually just use that. But Liz, I'm interested, what do you think in terms of the liability of doing a king of the, mountain kind of, if the top 20 are illegal speeds, what do you think the responsibility of that company is? They're obviously inducing people to break the law and do dangerous stuff.
They should probably do something to hide law-breaking activity, not to
Yeah.
encourage law breaking, but I don't think the company is liable for people making bad decisions. But I mostly use Strava for mountain biking, where
Right.
there's no illegal mountain biking on a legal trail.
You can't, that's,
Right.
you know that that's a slippery slope argument because we're allowed to market alcohol in this country and you can market tobacco and you can, there are
Yeah, but if
tons
if
of-
Anheuser-Busch did a website where you said,
Yeah,
Who
what,
can
what did
drink
you
the
blow?
most beers
or
in-
what was your BAC?
Yeah, but people
yeah,
have
well, yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy. Blow your highest BAC, or who
Yeah.
can who can do the most number of shots of tequila
Mm-hmm.
in 10 minutes? That would clearly not be something any reasonable person would do. I mean, don't you think these technology companies sometimes do this stuff without thinking?
Don't you think eating contests do that? I mean, I'm just saying.
Would
at
an
some
eating
point, like,
contest kill you, though?
we
or
have-
endanger other people around you?
we have had many, many, many conversations in this country about whether you can or cannot legislate stupidity.
I
And
think
some
you
of
should
this
check
is
out
like, we have
Strava,
new
see how you
toys
feel
and we
about
need
it,
to learn
'cause
how to
I
use
don't. Look,
I
check
know
it out.
Strava. I know it now, and there's a lot of articles.
It's been like 2 minutes.
I know it's a great.
He knows it.
No, I do remember because I read all about this. I'm having the whole
The
deja
original hipster.
I'm having deja vu all over again. It's like that, All right, let's go on to the next one. I'm not going to get an answer from Liz. You're being too.
I gave you an answer.
What is your answer? You don't think they're liable.
I don't think they're. No, I haven't
They're
seen
not
a case where
liable.
they're liable.
But do you? Okay, if you were the CEO, would you keep that feature up and running? King of the Hill feature. If you knew majority of the winners, the top 5 or 10,
I don't think
were
they
breaking the law.
are. I don't think they are. I mean, you also go up the hill, which is really hard to break the speed limit when you're biking up a hill.
Right, but for the downhills where people are clearly breaking the law, would you keep that stuff up and running or not?
I am
You're up-
interested to go look at this website later and see if they allow
Yeah.
record-breaking speeds or law-breaking speeds, because I don't know if they do.
It's going to be impossible. What's really interesting, too, is if you're posting your illegal stuff there, boy, what is the massive liability you have when you do wind up killing somebody, God forbid?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's
I think actually
posted.
this is like a larger, really interesting issue, that if you're tracking yourself all the time, like, when your kid gets a car, are you going to have a tracker in her car and know where she is at all times and know if she ran through that
Yes.
stop sign?
Yes.
When I was a kid, that wasn't an issue.
Right.
Cars
could
were
just-
freedom,
Right.
not anymore.
Right. So what I don't understand about cars, speaking of cars, why don't cars, now, because with the Tesla, I'm going to be like, yeah, my daughter can totally take the Tesla because I can
You
watch
have her
it.
on an
I
app.
know exactly where you are and how fast you're going.
Yeah, and should your insurance company have that information? Should the police have that information?
Yeah. That's a good question. But why can't they cap the speed? That's the thing. Like, I don't know why this device doesn't exist or isn't a built-in feature.
On a car?
Yeah, like you plug your driver's license in, and if you are a teen driver, you can't go above 75
your
miles
car
per hour.
breaks itself.
That's technically possible, yeah.
Easily.
I mean,
can't go
well,
above-
cars have that now. They have limiters,
Yeah.
limit allowed speeds now. So there's,
Yeah.
that seems actually.
But a limiter by driver's license.
by driver's license or
Like-
by biometric.
Or something, right? You
Yeah,
program it.
that
Like your
seems
kid can
absolutely
take it.
I mean,
technically possible.
my new cars just got like iPod jacks, right? Like
Yeah.
it takes a while for them to implement this kind
What
of
an
thing.
But these guys they have remarkable R&D labs. I mean,
They do, they do. They
go
just
on a
take 7
tour.
years.
Just think about how
They
many
take 7 years to get them to market, and they
kids-
have to get them
Yeah.
there's so much regulation.
So many
again,
of these
to
kids,
introduce
though,
a
are
feature.
killing themselves in cars. Like, we did crazy stuff. When I was a kid in Brooklyn, we got a car. My brother got a car. You know what the first thing we did was? We went on the Bell Parkway to take it to 100. Then I got a 73 Mustang the first thing I did was to see how fast I could take it. I got it up to 110. This thing was a $600 car.
You know, they market those cars to go really fast too. Maybe we should not allow those cars.
I
Well, I
know.
just think kids are stupid. They do stupid stuff.
This
Now,
point of view that you're advocating, I think I'm
know.
not sure if you can live in San Francisco if you can't see
I'm
the
just
libertarian
worried,
point of
I'm
view.
just worried about like technologists sort of saying like we know. It's sort of like when you know people are doing something that is super not advisable and you make it a feature. That's like at the line. Like if they were doing it and they're posting it to an independent website, okay, fine. Like if they take a screenshot of it. But to actually make it a built-in feature, that's when I'm like, wait a second, now we're tipping over to encouraging the competition. Anyway, let's move on to the next launch of the week, and this is Spotify's e-commerce. This is pretty brilliant, I think. Spotify, and I think I may have said on the show, somebody look it up, a super fan about Spotify doing this. They should do this. Spotify, hated by a lot of artists for not making them any money, but getting tons of consumption, has launched a commission-free merchandise site. Artists can list their items through Topspin, a very cool startup in Southern California, and it's available in US, UK, Australia, and other places. And this means that if you're listening to whatever, Eminem or whoever, you could buy their gear, which seems to be how people make money. And I guess we have a video of that? No video. Okay, anyway, the video doesn't matter. What do you guys think of this? I mean, Spotify is obviously crushing it in terms of consumption, but they are hated by artists. Is this going to stem the tide of artists hating them, and could artists actually make real money through this?
You know, as sort of a little bit of a side note, I just did this panel at CES on music licensing, and the two artist representatives at the table actually said that they hate Spotify the least. That the one that
Why is that?
Because the one that actually gets the most views and pays them the least is YouTube. And that relative, there's a perception that Spotify is hated by artists, but in fact, Spotify pays more
Than
YouTube and some of the other sort of places where people go to consume music that don't really necessarily
Here's
pay
the
at all.
video
Like at
here
least
of
Spotify is licensing.
Led Zeppelin T-shirts, and you can just add your merch there.
But to the original question, being able to merchandise as an artist is genius.
Yeah.
Like anything you can do to help cut out the middleman,
go direct.
go direct is
And
huge.
Spotify is not taking any commission on this. So if people start buying T-shirts and whatever, I think this could be huge. What do you think, Liz?
I think it's a nice freebie. I wouldn't say a genius seems like a strong word to say,
Yeah.
combining a place where you listen to music to buy a musical T-shirt.
But why? I mean, iTunes didn't do it, and Rhapsody didn't do it. I don't think anybody's really done this yet. It sort of feels like Spotify is going to give over. Like they should just go the whole way. When you're listening on Spotify to Led Zeppelin, they should just give Led Zeppelin 1/3 of the page. Imagine they gave them like a publishing platform, like you're listening to Eminem, Eminem
Right.
can put whatever they want there, their Twitter handle, their YouTube page, whatever it is, their
Yeah, I mean,
homepage.
it seems like that all should be pretty easily connected. I mean, I know YouTube will show you if a band is coming to your town, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're watching their video, it'll say they have a show. You can buy tickets here, right? Like all of that should be integrated.
I feel like if Spotify takes this to its next logical step, the thing that I think is genius is that if they're putting themselves in the position of giving artists a platform, and that platform could be distribution, merchandising, and potentially ticket sales for tours, Spotify could cut out, because what artists are really unhappy with is recording contracts.
Right.
And recording companies. And so if Spotify could cut out that middleman and be the new go direct to consumer middleman, because they have the reach to be a good marketing platform.
So you're saying they're a platform.
I'm saying they could be
That
a platform, and this
replaces-
is the first step.
Yeah.
That replaces the recording company.
It's very interesting you say that, because Sean Parker, I remember, I don't know if this was public or not, but I talked to him about it. He was trying to buy one of the music studios at one point. I don't know if one of them was up for sale, Atlantic Records.
Warner and then
Warner.
Universal.
It was Warner, so it was public, right? Like he met with them a bunch of times, and I actually went to the Grammys with Sean. He had like a box, and he was there like to try and buy a label. So they had a Spotify like box, and this seems to be what he's doing. I think
But it didn't work.
What's that?
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
There was actually like an enormous New Yorker profile this past week that I just read about the guy who did buy Warner, who's like this Russian oligarch who made all his money off of like
Russian
second-rate
stuff?
aluminum mines and like a lot
And
of
other Russian stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's approximately 20 paragraphs in the article that are like, he denies this, but blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think we have a number of Russians operating in the industry who
Well,
where
it's
the
a
money
different industry, but yeah, it sounded very familiar.
found very familiar, because people in our industry are afraid to talk about a certain Russian investor and where that money comes from too. Have you noticed that?
Yuri Milner? I've heard people say that. I don't know.
Yeah, I
history.
looked up online. The Yuri Milner's the money comes from somebody who I think was in jail for a decade. I'll look it
Right,
up
but
later.
being in jail in Russia is not.
Right, and so that's the issue. Is like he was in
That's just
jail
Tuesday.
for things that for a decade, but then he was exonerated. So who knows?
Yeah, business is complicated
It is.
in Russia.
I heard this is a great inside story last night at dinner. The Russians.
It's not like Jason's life for like a week.
This is a crazy story. So I'm with somebody last night, and he says, the Russians who moved out of Russia to London, with all this money,
Yeah.
they're really concerned about getting assassinated, right? Because they all get killed and put in jail and everything. And so they hired this like really big like United States security firm to advise them on how to not get assassinated and not get whacked, these mafias guys. And he said, buy football teams, buy a soccer team, and become like Mark Cuban or whoever's high-profile team owner. Because then you'll be loved by the fans, and then they can't kill you because people know who you are, and it's harder to kill somebody. Like, you can't go whack Mark Cuban, right? It'd be like, whoa, Mark Cuban's been killed. It'd be a big
You gotta
story.
be like way sneakier about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they have been. All right, here's the third one.
That's
Total-
fascinating.
Yeah, or maybe not.
I think
Okay, so this is it. Do you want to play this, Brandis, or do I? Okay, you play it, Brandis. This is a, I can talk over the video, right, Brandis? Okay, so this is
As long as television's
in-air
been around,
augmented
we've
3D
sat and
TV
waited for the story to come
glasses.
to
We
us.
can't hear it in here,
The
Brandis. Can we
story
turn it
that
up in here?
broadcasters and networks wanted us to see. No more, no less. What if the space between you and the TV could live and breathe and you could control the story? This is the new frontier, and it's called In-Air.
It's basically Minority Report.
What you are seeing here is a visualization of what the viewing experience would be like when using In-Air on a 3D television. We call it augmented television. In-Air seamlessly accesses internet content related to the program being watched and virtually places this information in layers in front of the TV in a dynamic manner. In-Air works with any 3D TV and any 2D standard television. When In-Air is activated in 3D mode, layers of internet content appear to be positioned in front of the screen and can be dynamically manipulated by the viewer. When watching in 2D, the same layering and dynamics occur, but from a place inside the television. How do you navigate? You can navigate In-Air content a number of ways. Simple swipes of your mobile device, or hand gestures using Kinect, or Leap Motion. We will also be providing an SDK to enable support for future devices. The In-Air app will be available for free on both iOS and Android, and will allow you.
All right, that's pretty cool. What do you guys think of this Kickstarter for In-Air? It's 68% of the way to their $100,000 goal, 45 days to go. Minority Report with I guess you have to have a 3D TV and be wearing 3D glasses,
Yeah.
or it's 2D and it layers. What do you think? Would you
wanted
use it?
I want it in my contact lens.
You want it in your exactly. I mean,
It's super neat. But would I use it? No.
right.
Yeah, and it seems like there's such a layer, it's so hypothetical, right? They're saying that in order to manipulate it, you would need a Leap or a Connect. Like, they're not building that side of it. They're not building the TV. They're this like browser that overlays on top of your existing content. There's a lot of people who want to control all the other parts of that.
With glasses on, by the way.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And glasses
But I think
have
it's a
so far
cool
been
idea.
kind of a
Power to
non-starter.
them. It sounds a little scary that they have to go on Kickstarter to make it happen, given that it's going to
Yeah.
take more than at that $100,000 to make something like this happen.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'd
Is a
imagine.
lot of the projects on Kickstarter seem to be like this, like almost enabling technology now, and like almost like proof of concept stuff, which I guess is good, right?
I was talking to a guy who was saying that so Kickstarter backers are so savvy now
Yeah.
that you have to promise something that they're convinced is revolutionary. And the only way you can do that is by overpromising. And then there's this kind of built-in like expectation that you're not actually going to be able to deliver. But it's just, I don't know, it's kind of this world of hype promises, which I'm sure, it's not just Kickstarter, but these companies are enabling in a way that it's kind of going a little bit too far. Like the guy I was talking to, he was launching a new camera lens that you put on your iPhone. And he was like, I'm just trying to make something that's good, but I have to make something that's like good
Magic,
plus. Yeah,
right.
that's magic to get people to feel like they want to put money into it, which is good. But he's saying if you
Have you guys ever bought
you
a
can
product on
actually do that,
Kickstarter
you
or
should.
any other crowdfunding site that you were satisfied with? Have you bought any from these sites?
I bought one.
Yeah, I've bought things.
Yeah.
I've never,
I bought
like-
a number of things. I don't know.
I haven't been like super satisfied with anything.
I bought one that
I have
I
an
don't love.
Everpurse,
I
which
have
is.
an Everpurse. That's
oh,
the
yeah?
one. Yeah.
What is an
Nice.
whoa?
actually
What is an
like-
Everpurse?
Because it's girl stuff.
Is this like is it Evernote in your purse? You open your purse and you see your
No,
Evernotes?
No, it's a phone charger in your purse
What?
that's built into it. It's the
Does it work in a
perfect
Merce?
girly
Because I have a
thing.
Merce.
I
Yeah,
had
it'll
Walt
work in your
presented
Merce.
at a thing, and he called it a Merce. So
Yeah.
mine's orange. I don't know what color yours
I got black, and it's kind of like a patterned black, and it's basically just a little pouch. My biggest problem with the Everpurse is that it does not charge by conventional means. It only charges with a very large inductive charger.
Right, which is
that-
hard to travel with. But
which
it's
is hard
kind
to
of
travel
cool
with, and
that
I
you
don't
just
have any room for that damn
stick your
thing.
purse on the charger, and
Oh,
it
I
charges
see.
wirelessly to
So
your
it charges
purse. and then you
wirelessly to this
s-
purse.
Oh.
And then you,
Isn't that
yeah,
cool?
no, it's cool. Like, okay, so in concept, it's super rad. And then you just
So you
dock
come
your
in
phone.
and you're like, oh, I've got my purse, and you put
just
it
lay it
on the
down.
little thing, and then it's charging.
But the thing is
Why don't we
that
have this for guys? Can't I be coming in and be like, hey, I got my like man bag? And
I
You
want it
can
to
have
be
a,
in
yeah,
better designs.
You can have
yeah.
a Mophie, or there's alternatives.
Yeah, you can have a Mophie.
a Mophie case that has inductive
Because
charging.
this is basically just the, well, but that's just the thing. The great selling point about how you come in, for one thing, that purse isn't a real purse. It's more like a pouch. It's like a clutch.
Yeah.
I see
So
it.
I wish they had more
Fits in
purse
another
designs.
Oh yeah, it is. I see it here,
So
but it's
I-
orange, which is kind of my favorite color.
What I usually
Oh,
do
it's
is
my
I
favorite
like,
Fabulous.
I slip it into this purse.
Yeah.
But then it's heavy. And then that big inductive charger, I don't have anywhere to put it.
I also have a Pebble, which I think is a very cool project. But
Yes.
I mean, you asked, am I ultimately satisfied? Like, I don't wear it every day, but I am comfortable with the money that I spent supporting it. I think it was neat.
Right. So it's
It was-
something else that you. It's not the product that you did it for.
Yeah, but other products that I bought 2 years ago, I don't also, use every day, right?
Right.
Some things are the hits of your
There's
life.
only
and
so
some
much
things
stuff
aren't.
that we need, really, too.
It does feel like it's
Good
interesting. It
point.
has carved, Kickstarter has carved this sort of, or Indiegogo and all these places have carved
Mm-hmm.
this niche of like, I want this to exist in the world, and I just want to see the ball move a little bit further down the field.
Yeah.
It's not going fast enough, so I feel like purse technology needs to, and clutch technology needs to go a little level, and I want to reward this person for making something awesome.
I mean, I like it. I like it I like that it exists. I just know that if there's ever really a breakout, Google's just going to buy it. Wah, wah.
Look at that. But look how awesome that
Isn't
is.
everything terrible?
Are you looking at
I'm
Everpurse?
watching this video of it. Like, pull this up on my screen, Brandis. Oh my God, I lost my monitor out here. Maybe
Is this the in air or the Everpurse?
I'm watching the Everpurse, which to me is the
You're
launch
just
of the
delighted
year.
by the
I love
Everpurse?
it.
I am
That's awesome.
How are you
Why
not?
the-
I
can
can't
I-
believe you weren't on the chick tip about this because mine came, whatever, didn't we just get ours like a
whatever
year ago?
IRC chat
Not a
room-
year, but a while, 7 months ago?
Can I get an invite to the
The girl chat.
The lady,
girl,
lady
the,
tech?
the lady journalist tech
I think that's my new
blogger?
column idea.
You,
Just
you should do a lady journalist,
Oh, no. And make
lady
it
tech
pink
journalist
flowers.
Google group, and it could just be all the lady tech journalists talking about stuff,
And all the products that we want.
and just include me in
What
that.
could go wrong?
It's so awesome.
How
and
could
a
we
good
ever get
video.
pegged into
All right,
things?
all right,
Yeah,
enough.
seriously.
Okay, here we go.
I also like regular products.
No, exactly.
I like boy things too.
It is interesting though, like.
It is funny though that you had no idea about Everpurse because it was like a little quake in our.
yeah.
I mean, I was like in emails from my girlfriends who were really, we were
I-
stalking it.
I feel like they should do it like a second round of that exact same technology, but for men in
But
some
what
like.
form factor?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what do we carry? Like
Well, it could,
a
just be
backpack.
it could be a laptop bag or a
Yeah.
backpack, or
A
they could do a
backpack.
purse with the
There are
handles,
definitely
you know.
charging backpacks.
There are.
There's even solar charging backpacks.
I've seen the solar charging one.
Well, there's just regular charging.
Oh,
backpacks.
I spent like an ungodly amount on a suitcase because it included like a little built-in charger, and it's got
What?
all these little
Yeah,
gadget
it's
like
pretty- it's starting
pockets,
to
and there's
be
a charger,
normal.
and
Yeah, the problem was then anything that was built before a year ago doesn't have the lightning adapter if you're an iPhone user.
yeah,
and
but
it's
I
Oh, yeah,
just
this
love
is
the
just a
inductive
brick.
charging piece. That's getting interesting. If they just make batteries 10 times more efficient, we'd be this would all
know.
this whole
Yeah,
category
that-
would go away.
welcome to my
I don't-
soapbox. Like I'm so mad about battery technology.
All right.
Absolutely, but I mean, I have Android phones that have wireless charging, and those have been really finicky. So I don't think that's perfect either.
Plus the charger's too big.
All right. We had 3 launches this week. The contact lenses, either Google's or the Swiss one. You can use either one if you want. We'll bundle them together. We had Spotify becoming a label, perhaps, becoming that little platform, as Molly from the New York Times speculates. Gotta include
Look for that in print on
Gotta
Lady Tech.
include
My
that
new
there. Or the in-air augmented 3D TV, layers and layers of stuff on top of Game of Thrones, making it even more confusing. I watch Game of Thrones with the subtitles on because I can't follow all these. I can
All
only
the
tell you one
accents.
character's name in the whole show,
Yeah.
which is Khaleesi. That's the only character I know.
Were you watching
That
it
seems reasonable.
once every week?
No, I binge watched it.
Okay.
With the
Because I think
subtitles.
it's impossible to understand. Like my attention span doesn't have the capacity to watch a television show once a week and remember what happened anymore. I can only binge watch.
There's too much going on in these shows. So much density.
It's true.
I got to take notes. I feel like I should go to class or something. Like we should watch the show and then we should have a class and somebody should whiteboard what's going on Game of Thrones.
Oh, it's like book group, except for TV shows.
I know. I want to be in a
Why
book
isn't
group.
there a TV group?
Well, there is.
That's a good
Well,
idea.
kind of is. It's all over the web, but you
there
could
is.
really have
Like,
like a pod. That would be a great podcast.
That would be a great.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
they have
so
that,
I'm,
actually.
so
They totally
I'm,
have that.
no, I mean, I'm behind on this one. Please don't tweet me spoilers, but I just finished season 4 of Breaking Bad yesterday.
Amazing.
And immediately afterwards, I listened to the Breaking Bad podcast. I
Yeah.
looked at the Television Without Pity recap. I looked at
Yeah.
the AV Club recap. I looked at Vince Gilligan's,
It's true. It does kind of
It turned into
exist.
4 hours of my day, but it was awesome.
All right, when I move up to San Francisco, we're going to do a book. We're going to do a TV show
group.
We're going to pick a show. We're going to watch it. Do we watch it together and then talk about it, or just watch it
It's
on our
more
own
fun if
and
you
then
have
we have
parties.
dinner?
But no, I think we watch it because that's how book group works. Like you go off and you watch.
You do
the
it on
thing,
your own time.
But then you have
come
dinner.
talk.
That's what we'll do.
That's
All
the
right.
key. It's not like a web
I'm
one.
gonna
It's
have
like a
Game
real
of
life
Thrones
one.
dinner party. All right.
I
so
had a great Game of Thrones dinner party. We made goat and I made like Sansa's
really?
lemon cakes and we
Anybody
had
get
mead.
their? Was it like the Red Wedding? Did anybody get like? Anybody get like stabbed
I
multiple
can't
times?
talk about that on the podcast.
Exactly. All right. Which one is your pick, Liz?
I'm
Of your
gonna
launch of the week. Play
go-
along with me
so,
here.
I don't love this trio as like for the parallels. They're really different, but
Right. That's
I'm,
the challenge.
I'm gonna go with number 1 on the potential.
Okay, so you're going with our contact lenses. That's a good choice. That would be a world changing if it came out. And Molly, what do you think?
I know. I mean, I'm in love with my idea of Spotify as a label, but I'm going contact lens all the way because I want them in the
All right,
future.
so it's a clean sweep. I think the contact lens is important. And I'll tell you, I think it's not for people who have diabetes. I think it's for people who want to control their weight, because I read this book, Why We're Fat. I don't know if you've, I listened to it on Audible, actually. Plug for a sponsor who's not sponsoring today. But Why We're Fat and Wheat Belly. And it was just talking about how like spiking your insulin and all this stuff is what stores fat on your body. And I was like, I really want to know my glucose level or insulin
At that
level.
second.
I just want to know it at all times so that while I'm eating the donut, there's some feedback alarm going, beep, 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 beep. You're like, you've had too much sugar, Jason, stop. You know, too much ice cream, too much sugar, you gotta...
I mean, the health
I mean, you could
applications
wear
and the
a
personal
glucose
data.
monitor.
You could wear a glue. That's true. They have that.
But isn't that
It's like a patch
invasive?
or whatever.
Yeah, it's either a patch or going into your subcutaneous tissue, or you prick yourself like 8 times a day.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not
yeah,
into
you
the
could do
pricking myself
that,
8
but-
times a day. That's a lot of work.
So the contacts have
I just want to look at my
unbelievable.
watch and be like,
They have unbelievable potential for all of that, for all of those medical and personal diagnostic reasons, but they also, once they are connected to the internet, have unbelievable potential for interacting with the world. Like I'm taking this all the way to 100 years from now, and I can't wait.
Have you guys tried the Basis watch? I've heard from people who wear that they'll notice that the night after they drink wine, their heart rate is still elevated, and it's actually made them cut down on wine drinking.
The Basis watch is very accurate. Like it is a remarkable device,
heart
and they
rate.
also have a patch. Yeah,
for heart rate is what people use it for. I gotta get that because I've been doing the CrossFit,
Oh, it's a
and my CrossFit guy's trying to like get me into a certain heart zone. So I was wearing
Yeah.
the chest strap, but that's a pain in the ass.
I hate the chest strap.
I hate the chest strap.
I met I met a person on a plane recently, who I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
But he was telling me that he was involved.
You're out of business cards?
Yeah, no, I was out of business cards. But he said that he was involved, he was working with Basis, because he had some technology that like Jenny Craig used or something. Anyway, that the original chest strap, part of the reason that it never took off was because women in particular can complain that it was too cold. And I was like, it was. I had the exact same, like you try to use it, but it's cold plastic, and just like,
No,
you
it's
know, I'm just gonna
uncomfortable.
skip that today, it's
and
uncomfortable.
I didn't like it at all.
Basis is very good.
All right, hey,
Isn't
listen.
that a different product?
Thanks,
I'll look
Bing,
it
for
up.
sponsoring the launch of the week. Everybody go check out Bing. Check out their video search, which is really cool because they play little clips and stuff like that. Bing, great search engine. I have it as my default on my phone and on my iPad. It's wonderful. Go check it out. Thanks to our friends at Bing. All right, let's do another. Do I have a second ad to read, Brandis? I have. Oh, I get to read a MailChimp ad? Oh, that's easy. Listen, MailChimp. Molly's like, my God, Jason. I thought
He's
you-
just so happy about MailChimp.
Molly's like, Jason, I thought you arrived in your career. You don't have to read ads anymore.
But you
I'm doing
like it.
I enjoy it.
You're a good old-fashioned ad man.
I like it. I'm an ad man, and
A
it's very
radio
easy to read an
man.
ad for MailChimp. This is how the ads work on this program. We're so lucky. I made a list of the 20 like things I use, and I said, here's your list of targets.
Awesome.
And we got like 10 down the list, and they bought out the show for 6 months at a time. Sold out. And MailChimp is one of those lifelong sponsors I've had because I've used the product literally for 5 or 6 years, send all my emails through it. And the free plan is always free over there at MailChimp. 2,000 subscribers, 12,000 emails per month. Do you have a personal email list, Molly?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
And this is critical, right? Like, it's important for you to have a personal list so that you can, like, have those 1,000 true fans.
Of course, yeah. And guess what I use for it?
You use MailChimp?
Of course I do.
Oh, the
What else
elegant,
would I use?
simple, delightful MailChimp.
Yeah,
Perfect.
like what else would I use?
And here's the thing. You can use it for up to 2,000 subscribers and 12,000 emails per month for free. So Molly's probably not even paying, which is fine. They love that. They love people building up their list. And then when they get true value out of that mailing list, MailChimp makes just a tiny bit of money. You pay based on usage, so you don't have to, like, used to be when you did mail services, they would, like, these other services I remember tried to sell me on $5,000 a month, 2-year contracts, 3-year contracts. Nope, pay as you go at MailChimp, and the free plan is always free. And it's a great company. The team over there, Ben and everybody, just do a wonderful job. And I use it for all my companies, and all the startup companies I work in use it. And they also do Mandrill too, which is that transactional email. So go check out MailChimp and thank at MailChimp. And even if you're just an individual, you should have, like every individual in the industry should have a blog. And on their blog, they should have their MailChimp to sign up to just get updates from you. Then when you go for another job, like Liz, when you leave Recode for the New York Times, when you get like, because you're next. I mean, I don't know how long Kara Swisher and Will Mossberg are going to hang on to you. But if you wind up having 3,000 or 4,000 emails on that list, then when you go to the New York Times and you're negotiating, you're like, hey, can I get like $10 in salary for each of these emails?
For my email list?
Your email list is power.
I don't have an email list. I
No,
just update my
I'm telling you,
Twitter.
it's true power. Like Gabe at TechMeme won't put the launch festival on the calendar. And I'm like, Gabe, I don't care. I have 35,000 emails. If you're really going to not put it on there, really, Gabe? Crazy.
Not
Is this a
hurt at
thing
all.
now?
What?
Not hurt at all.
I'm totally
I
hurt.
don't
I'm
need,
like,
you're like, I don't need you.
no, and Gabe is totally
Gabe.
toying with me. He's like, you're on the calendar. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, oh, no, click additional events. And I'm like, he put me on the
did not.
second level of the calendar
That's
for an
like the-
8,000 person event.
that's
That's
like
worse
being
than
on
not
the-
putting me on the calendar.
That's pretty mean. Your
That's
events,
just
your
mean.
events are better than that.
That's like being
I
on,
know,
on
I
the
feel
friend
like-
ladder.
I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It keeps me hungry. Keeps me as an outsider.
The man is putting you down.
Absolutely. The man, Gabe, from TechMeme is keeping me
Drunk
down.
on power.
Gabe with his It's pretty funny, actually. He has the whole industry on tilt with this whole leaderboard. Do people care about that in the journalistic space, the
What
leaderboard?
is the leader? Oh.
The TechMeme leaderboard? It does
You
kind
know
of
what?
matter. People
I
talk
only know
it,
about
right?
it because Kara tweeted it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
been
they
tweeting
have
it all
that?
week because
The
we've been
leaderboard thing?
because it's based on I think like a 30-day the
Ah.
past 30 days.
So it's like the
New York Times.
iTunes
So
podcast
our
lists.
dead brand just is passing because it's not creating any more stories.
Right.
And Recode is rising. So yes, Kara's been paying quite.
So
close
people
attention.
pay attention to this. It's really interesting.
It's one of those things you can't say you pay attention to.
But of course you do.
Yeah.
The Verge is like, boom, they're just became like huge on that list.
But how can you have a leaderboard that's based solely on your own aggregation? Like it's an artificial, isn't it sort of an artificial
Well, they
promotion at
pick
that
who
point?
gets
like if
the-
TechMeme's picking who's on their site.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then they're putting up a leaderboard of like who got the most clicks, but they put the big headline.
No, it's not who got the most clicks. It's who they picked. It is totally.
Oh, it's
insular.
literally a leaderboard of who they picked.
the main story, though.
Oh, so it's how much they like
If you're
you.
Pando Daily and you comment on 10 stories, and those 10 stories were Recode stories, you don't get on the leaderboard for the like the sub story.
I see.
Only the originating main story.
Yes, but TechMeme does drive traffic. If no one went to it, it wouldn't matter.
And that's actually I got like maybe 30,000 people from Hacker News, and I got like 200 or 300 from TechMeme. So
Right.
it doesn't really drive that many. What do you get, like 200 or 300?
I don't know the number, but
It's
yeah,
like
Hacker News
1,000 or
would be
two.
bigger. Hitting Hacker News is like hitting Dig in the old days.
Yeah, Hacker News is at least 50 to 100 times more important than TechMeme.
That's probably. I mean,
Isn't
in
Re-
audience.
and isn't Reddit
In
more
audience.
important than both of those?
No, because I
No?
don't think you have any chance as a tech story of getting on the top page of Reddit.
And Hacker News also.
Unless you have, like,
I guess
a-
I've seen one or two.
Unless you do a meme.
Not very many.
You know, like you do
Right.
Larry Page with like,
Yeah.
a hat on or
But
something.
I think
or a
that
cat.
TechMeme is about the business of technology
Right.
more, and Hacker News is about the hacking of technology. So there's.
But they also
like, a
talk
little
about
bit
the
of an
news of it.
audience
It's
gap.
like news from the point of view of the people who actually build stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm a developer at Google or a developer at this Y Combinator thing, and I'm going to talk about Yahoo's new product as opposed to TechMeme, which is like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's no TechMeme community.
No, there isn't a TechMeme.
There is
community.
only Gabe.
Yeah, exactly. All right, listen. AngelList is helping investors get accredited, free universal investor accreditation forms and funds for individuals. This is important because now if you do a public fundraising, you have to get angel investors to go give you like 2 years of tax returns. They have to actually not just sign a document saying they're accredited, they have to prove it. So here you can prove once with AngelList, and then investors can download the report or access it by an API. What do you think the impact of this is, and just this sort of more open fundraising? Have you seen any impact of the open fundraising and non-solicitation, people just saying like, I'm raising money and tweeting it?
No, I haven't seen that very much yet.
Yeah.
But I think that it bridges to the conversation we had before about Kickstarter and products, that there's so much more of a continuous spectrum from customer to investor.
Well, and there's also a really big push for an ability to invest in companies outside of traditional investment avenues. And there's, there are companies that are starting to enable, if I'm understanding this correctly, that's kind of what it does, right? Is provide an alternate avenue for you to become an angel. Because I do, like, for example, Cuban, and as financial advice, says, like, listen, if you've got $100,000 in cash, be an angel investor. Don't get into Wall Street because it's fixed. And you're only going to lose. So become an angel investor. But that's non-trivial for somebody who's like, how do I do that? But if there's all these great alternate avenues that are accredited, trustworthy, I think it's actually really useful as an investment
I think it's slightly different than that. It's not that what they're talking about accrediting is the investor yourself, right? So you're the person with $100,000.
Right.
And so the flip side of all this, what if it goes bad, is the mortgage-backed securities. Are you just going to find someone to offload your crappy startup on who is interested in, because Mark Cuban told them they should be an angel investor?
Yeah, the only difference is it's not like the money that comes into the company is then going to like a broker or something. It's going into the company, and they're going to spend it on trying to make the company better. But I do think there's going to have to be some risk tolerance that has to change, because 6 or 7 out of 10 of these companies fail. I've started to learn now that I'm invested in 50 companies.
You're like,
it
angels
turns out
actually
most
kind
of them fail.
Maybe
Not in my portfolio.
Are
but
index funds that bad? I don't think so.
What's that?
Just saying.
Yeah.
Stock market's
good.
not that
No,
terrible.
my fund is. But
It's true. This does tip the balance a little to companies, like you say, because companies can find an accredited investor, and that's great for them.
Right.
But what kind of due diligence does the investor get?
And it's not
there
just
needs
a
to be
tech
like a little
company,
due
too.
diligence
I
middleman.
mean, there's startup granola bar companies that can get funded
Did I
this
say
way.
tech
yeah, I
company?
get picked by
any
a lot of
company.
these food companies, and it's or movies or anything. I mean, people invest in all these things. It does seem like there's going to be an interesting moment this year or later in this year when unaccredited investors, non-accredited investors, I guess would be the proper way to say it, non-accredited investors, i.e. people without a high net worth or without like $1 million in cash sitting around, are going to be able to invest in startups. So Kickstarter says already they won't allow equity, but AngelList is going to.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on just rank and file citizens who might buy the, Everpurse, being able to buy the Everpurse and get a share in the company for $300 or something?
Yeah, I mean, there's still some requirements around your assets and things like that, right?
Right. You can do a certain amount per year. I think it's $10,000 a year or $20,000 a year. It's some percentage of your income or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more. It's more risk, more fraud potential, more this all blows up in our face, but potentially a lot more positive possibilities.
Well, the good thing too is that it wouldn't, if it's not tied to a market, if it's just like, let's say AngelList becomes eventually like a matchmaker, right? They do a little due diligence on companies, and then they match them up with their accredited investors, and then everybody can.
Yeah, that's how they started.
Yeah, exactly. So then, okay, so they blow up, but it doesn't matter because it like doesn't break the entire economy.
No.
Who cares? Like a bunch of rich people and a bunch of companies go, I mean, I care, whatever.
Right, no, but it is true. Like,
But it doesn't break America.
yeah,
or the
Mark
world.
Cuban losing $100,000 on an angel investor, not very important.
Because you know what you're
Grandma
in for.
losing her retirement savings on the Everpurse investment could be a problem.
You know what it does? It contains the bubble.
Yeah.
I love that of all the things that have ever launched on Kickstarter, like the one that we have in common is Everpurse, and that it's like this.
I'm
then
buying
he's-
it. I'm
and then
getting
he's in
Everpurse
love with-
after this.
Yeah.
I'm getting, I don't, what do you call it? A satchel? What do you call the small thing?
It's a clutch.
A clutch.
It's a clutch.
I'm going to get that clutch. I'm going to buy 2, one for my wife, one for me, and then we'll have
I
on
got
the
a clutch
nightstands.
with a crossbody strap. That's another piece of vocabulary you're going to
Whoa,
need.
whoa,
so you
whoa.
can wear it as a purse alone.
That's what I should have gotten.
Crossbody strap.
I didn't get the crossbody
So you mean like
strap.
Indiana Jones?
Kind of.
Yes.
So it's not like it's.
I mean, I don't like put my bullets on it.
But you could. You could put.
I would.
Yeah. I like this idea of
Yeah,
like
what I
the
need to do is I need to get a
Indiana
nicer
Jones.
ever person that would be happy, because I just got like the black fabric clutch, and it's fine like to slip in here, it totally is, but I want it to be a standalone purse.
It is
and
interesting, like the unisex design of wearables right now.
Yeah.
You know, like we have the Samsung watch I got. I didn't like it. Like I don't see my wife or any woman's going to wear it because just generally women's
huge.
arms are not as big as men's arms.
Though I
And
guess it's very fashionable to wear big ass watches right now.
I guess so, but this is like wearing
I know it's
like a
it's
Palm
tech
Pilot
watch,
on your
yeah. Yeah.
wrist. But
It's funny because I mean, at CES this year, one of the big things everyone was talking about was how much more fashionable and at least fashion conscious they were. But still, it was like for a dude.
Right.
yeah, for a dude, exactly.
For a dude.
That's the market. Okay, anyway, douche coin for luge coin.
Lady tech.
Lady Tech. There's actually name of your column. Molly Woods, Lady Tech
yep.
in the
I think they're going to go for it.
absolutely. And it's pronounced douche coin or dog coin.
I don't think it's pronounced douche coin.
it's not douche. It's not douche coin.
You should just say it that way, though.
But it is now.
Douche for luge.
It is now.
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. Dogecoin. I bought $100 in Dogecoin the
Really?
day I heard about it because I just told my assistant, buy me $100 in Dogecoin. He's like, okay.
Because in case.
No,
it
because I just
turned
thought it
into
was
Bitcoin.
super funny, and I was like, there's an absolute chance this
What
could
was the
become reality.
Kanye
Why
one?
not? Yeah.
Yeah, Coinye.
Coinye.
Thank you, Brandis. Brandis from the
Was that real or not real?
Coinye was
It's
real.
real, and then he
it's
sued
real.
somebody
Then he
over it,
sued,
right?
and they're
Real,
like,
but he didn't. He was
He didn't do it,
involved.
and he sued,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So, Dogecoin? Am I pronouncing it right now?
Sounds
Are you
good.
sure?
I think anything
Liz?
that's not
Do you know what
douche
it's
coin is
actually
correct.
pronounced, Liz?
I mean, I'm the person who like read too much as a kid, so for
Right.
like 10 years I thought it was horizon instead of horizon.
Right. Okay.
So don't trust me on pronunciations.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's Dogecoin.
Dogecoin meets Cool Running. Dogecoin community raises $35,000 to send a qualified two-man Jamaican bobsled team to Sochi Winter Olympics.
It's up to much. Well, they combined theirs with crowd tilt. I just read way too much about this morning. So
Anyway,
now
go
it's
to-
like at least 120K.
Dogesled.net. The internet is like one of the most wonderful things in the world. When this kind of stuff happens, it's just great. Some other dude I saw got like almost killed in a accident parachuting. Landed on a van. He survived like 11,000-foot drop, and it was like he's got $50,000 worth of medical bills. And like they put it on the internet, and Reddit's like, "Oh, we'll pay for it."
Yeah.
Like Reddit's amazing. They're
Reddit's
just like, "Yeah, we'll
amazing.
pay for it." I'm like,
It's
"Wait,
phenomenal
who?"
how they can be both the height and depth of humanity, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, at the same time.
At the same time, and probably some of the same people.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Yeah, this is evil in the world, and this needs to be solved." And
And
let's
also,
take pictures of
yes.
bad things.
Funny because it becomes all about storytelling. It's like, how can you get people's attention in that way, right? It's like this, the BuzzFeed Upworthy universe of like, how can you write something in a way that tugs at people's heartstrings and gets them to click and then gets them to donate? It's like, I was reading about, nothing against the Jamaican bobsled team. I loved Cool Runnings too, but the premise of this
Cool
is
Runnings 2 or
ridiculous.
Cool Running 1? Which one
As
did you
well.
like better? The
Also.
sequel or both?
Oh,
Is there
well,
a sequel to it? I don't know.
This is well, I don't know if there was a sequel.
But this is it.
This
There
is
is now.
the sequel. This
Where's
is
the
notion of this.
documentary? Why don't they do a documentary? That's what they should do. A
Well,
second
exactly.
Kickstarter.
So this is exactly my point, is that the reason this is doing well is because people are like, I saw that movie. That's awesome. That guy should go back. But like the reality is he's like 46 years old. He's already been to 3 Olympics. He like lives in, I think it was like Illinois now. And they only qualified, they couldn't afford to get to the final qualifying place, but like not enough other people competed, or they're still good enough at it that no one beat their score from the previous competition.
Oh, great.
So they got in, but then they're like, okay, we can't pay for it. So they say they couldn't pay for it. Now people are shoving like $125,000 at them.
Thinking
and
that
then Sochi was like, the Olympic Federation was like, oh, we'll actually just pay. So they're going to spend the money that the internet miraculously appeared for them on the next 3 weeks of training before they go to the Olympics.
Oh,
So
really?
it's just like,
Is that training going to include like a first-class round trip ticket and 4 seasons in
I am
Jamaica?
not, I have nothing, I want to see the documentary about Cool Runnings too. But all I'm saying is that like you have
Story
a
is
good story
a
on the
powerful
internet
thing.
and it goes.
is a powerful
yeah.
thing.
But you mentioned Upworthy and BuzzFeed, which obviously has tilted the entire journalistic industry in a way. Are you?
Well, you
got-
see how effective that is.
You see how effective it is. So now is journalism about who can come up with the best story or who can tell the most important story in the world right now?
I think that people are getting a little bit tired of that format. I think you see that it's like, really, do I need to click on another thing that says, this is the most upsetting thing you'll see all day. This is the most heartwarming thing you'll see all day. You know, like, I think.
Well, I also
your
think
brain
that there's a
turns off at
difference
that at some
between
point.
storytelling, content, and journalism.
Did you see that the autocomplete for what you just searched for was Upworthy Generator?
Yes, I did see that.
Oh, please do that.
Yeah, so let's see what that is. But
Yeah.
do you guys, will you groan when you see a fearless blogger wrote?
So amazing. And then like a crying lady.
Wait, are you saying if I reload this, I get something else? I wish I was more disgusted by what an angry NBA coach proved, but I'm not.
That's awesome.
So what this is referring to is the fact that Upworthy scientifically tests, they multivariate A-B test, ABCDE test the headlines before putting them out to see which one gets the most social reshares.
I think Huffington Post did that like 5 years ago. But yeah, I mean, they've taken it to a whole new level.
Do you guys do that at Rico? Do you guys
No,
sit there
we
and
do not
think
A/B
about the
test
headline and how
headlines.
to optimize it for social sharing?
We actually do include a separate headline that goes to Twitter. Yeah, which is usually I just do the same headline, but without all the capital letters, so it looks a little more conversational.
And then you'll put, you'll never believe.
yes,
M
I should
dash.
start doing that.
Yes, you'll never believe M dash what I learned from Pinterest latest filing at the SEC. Slideshow.
I hope to remain a writing snob forever.
Yeah, now you're at the
Like,
New
I
York
just want it
Times.
to
You're like,
stop.
no,
do I
women-
have to do that? Yeah.
We do it based on an
Can I just be
artistic
snobby?
discovery process.
Yeah, I mean, it's really over. But like, there was one so I saw the
it's
takedown of the
overdone.
one that went viral before, but there was this like, it's so polluted in Beijing that people are watching a video of the
Video
sunrise.
sunrises, yeah.
It was
That could not have been true.
It was BS. And
could not have been
the
true.
second after that went viral, the takedown went viral. And it's just like, I mean, it's
Oh
too
my
much.
God! So
It goes
what,
so
So
fast.
this is what I think people are doing. I think they
I was
made
happy
the
that it was
fake
BS, by
viral
the way.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think what Upworthy and these people are doing, BuzzFeed, is they're sitting in a room saying, what is something we can create that when it comes out it's a fake, we can make traffic on the way up and down? Mm-hmm. Right? Like that twerking video that Jimmy Kimmel made.
That was obviously fake, by the way.
Right, but he got the traffic
Yeah,
on the
you're
way
right.
up and on the
And
way
on the way
down,
down.
right? He got a ton of traffic for both. So you're just like, okay, let's just do like, take this billboard, put a video of a sunset on it, have people walking by watching it, say that's why it exists, and then prove it false.
So you're talking about
Have
a
you noticed
troll
that
factory.
anyone who has ever done this, then like as soon as they make their millions, they like devote themselves to long-form journalism foundations? Like,
Yeah, what we really need to do in this world of the web is start to differentiate quite seriously between content creation and journalism.
Yeah, I would like to get inside that problem.
Also, you just invented you just invented
Oh,
the troll
tagline.
factory.
Boom! Coming to you next Friday. No, Tuesday. On Tuesday. My favorite HuffPo spoilers. The country all food lovers need to visit ASAP, Belgium.
That is hysterical.
Coolest former First
I
Lady
need to
ever.
subscribe to
Photos
this
of
right
Carla
now.
Bruni.
What's
It's
the
so
Twitter
great.
account?
HuffPo spoilers.
Oh
So
my God.
It basically is the anecdote for all the Huffington Post like
That's amazing.
link baiting headlines. It is so genius. A leather jacket, apparently. The one item every man needs is in his closet. 1.7 million pounds of Velveeta cheese skillets, singles ultimate cheeseburger. Kraft issues major recall.
This is my new favorite
Oh, it's so
Twitter
great.
feed
And
ever.
then there's actually
Now I don't have to read
how
it.
many months behind am I on this?
There's, I don't know, I found it like, there's a Vice Twitter handle that is like, oh God, I can't remember right now, but there's a Vice Twitter handle, which is like phony Vice headlines that you think were true. And it's like, we sent Miley Cyrus to the Cambodia killing fields to do an acoustic concert with Usain Dor. And it's like, wait, why would you do that? Oh, it's Vice. Maybe they would do something instead. Like, what am I missing? Like, I'm not pretentious and artistic enough to understand why you would go to the Cambodia killing fields with Usain Dor and Miley Cyrus to do a cover of a Dylan song, but I may click on it anyway. Anyway,
Anything
listen,
can happen.
this has been an amazing program. I hope. I know I have two great guests.
I know I was seeing your chats that were like wrap up like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
so
of
I feel
course.
like we're just so good.
We're so good that we're going to keep going. No,
By the way,
listen.
actual tweet from the New York Times. 3 stories in the New York Times you should know about right now. Apparently,
See?
I don't get to be above it.
It's everywhere. It's
Exactly.
everywhere.
You'll never
Someone
believe
needs to
what
spoil
Paul
that.
You know, like,
Krugman
can someone spoil that
believes.
for me?
You'll never believe what Paul Krugman has to say about
Hint,
the
it's-
economy.
Hint, it's not Keynesianism. Or maybe it
Nine
is. I can't remember.
9 things. I can't even do it. All right, listen. What an amazing program. Liz Gannes from the wonderful, wonderful Recode.net and the Code Conference that,
Thank
A,
you.
you can't afford to go to, and B, you're not invited to because it's sold out. But I am
Oh,
on the A list
but-
now. I'm on the inside now.
but-
you should lobby crash, as Liz endorses.
No.
You don't
we have
endorse a lobby
security
crash?
guards for that.
I'm telling everybody
We have
right
like
now.
former Secret Service officers who work our conference to
I
keep
know,
lobby
but-
crashers out. Like
No,
you.
not the lobby crashers. The lobby is public space.
Inside lobby. I don't,
There-
I
no,
don't
there
care about
literally is.
What I was gonna say. This is where I get to
Yeah.
plug something, right?
Plug.
Okay, is that I am going to be organizing again the mobile spin-off of
Oh,
the
yes.
Code Conference, which similar to how we did Dive into Mobile
Right,
is
right,
a
right.
spin-off from D.
Yeah.
And that will be this fall.
What do
And
you call that?
I think it's gonna
Recode Mobile
Recode
something.
Mobile. Yeah, sure.
Recode Mobile,
Go with that.
whatever.
It's not official yet, but it's going to be happening. And last year we had the CEOs of WhatsApp, Snapchat, Waze, Xiaomi,
Everybody.
all these
It
companies
was
that
great.
like you since have heard of. They were at our conference, so you should come this year. And
So you're
hopefully
going to
we'll
be the
live up to that.
There you go. You're going to be producing it with Ina Fried.
Ina.
Fried.
Mm-hmm.
Great. There you go. And where's it going to be taking place here? Oh, we don't have a location yet.
I cannot disclose yet.
I can't disclose the location, but that looks like.
Soon, you'll know soon.
Oh, I know what that is. That's the Laguna Niguel.
It's not at the Laguna Niguel.
That's a photo of the Laguna Niguel.
Interesting.
I know that.
It's a pretty picture, isn't it?
Wait, maybe that's Hawaii. Maybe it's going to be a destination thing. All right, listen, I'm coming either way. I'm going to get a comp. One of these days, I'm getting a comp.
Press
I'll pay.
coverage. You're going to cover it for Inside.com.
There you go. Press pass.
Anyway, Gabriel Snyder will cover it for Inside.com. That's going to be great. Recoding Mobile is the name of your conference, by the way, Liz, since you don't know the name of your own conference that you're producing. It's Recoding Mobile. It's right here on your website. Everybody go to recode.net/events/recode-mobile. I'll be there for sure. Maybe I'll do an interview. Oh, wait, Inside's a mobile company. I could be a speaker at this event. You could fireside chat me. All right. Anyway.
You bring the logs. I'll bring the matches.
That was
Absolutely.
fun to watch.
Absolutely. That's how I get myself invited.
just like get him all
Wait a
lit up.
second. I could be a speaker here. Molly Wood of the New York Times. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for saying that so many times.
Congratulations. It's kind of a big gig. I mean, you put your hard work in. You did a decade at CNET. You
13
busted
years.
your ass for 13 years grinding it out, doing reviews, doing, what was the podcast you guys?
Jumping out of helicopters, running half marathons, sticking.
No, you did all the, you really were in
Yeah,
the
no,
trenches.
it's true. I started as a reviewer.
And
I've
it's
done
so-
every editorial job there is at CNET, just about.
So great to see one of my good friends get a gig like the New York Times. And everybody seems to be getting the New York, great gigs now. So many good gigs.
It's a
But
good
really,
time. It's a
I
good
think
time to be us.
I think it's really so appropriate that you got the gig because you're one of the great communicators about technology and you're one of the hardworking ones. I see so many people who have big positions who phone in their reviews. I'm not going to say names like David Bogue, but my God, what a disaster he was for the New York Times for a decade. Hated by all the other tech journalists there. I have this on inside information. All the tech journalists complaining about how little work he did.
These are your new colleagues.
I know, I did not know. I know.
Yeah,
I'm
your
like,
colleagues are like,
we're going to coffee.
no, they're like, wow. Because who else is now doing there? Who took over David's piece?
Farhad Manju.
Farhad took it over. was
But
on
you
the
guys will be
program.
out here?
Yeah.
So the center
That's
of
a big
gravity
deal.
is moving.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, like, I know. I thought
can't- they
I
got-
actually thought Farhad was in New York
No, no,
until
he's
that
here.
news came out, and then saw that he was going to be in San Francisco also.
But I
and
mean,
it's- yeah, it's
Farhad and
pretty
Molly, I mean, that's
powerful.
a really powerful duo. I mean, I think they're going to crush it. And as I said, like getting Farhad and Molly is like trading like J.R. Smith for LeBron James. I mean, this is it's a basketball reference. Nobody's going to get it. Hey, thanks,
I got
Brandon.
the second part.
Yeah, anyway, it's like trading like the worst player in the league who's the most trouble for like the best player.
Thanks,
Let's
boss.
leave it at that. Brandis, producer Gina, great job as always. Andrew on the ticker, good job. Demont and Luke and all Simon sales folks who keep the lights on. Great, thank you for that. You can follow me. I'm at Jason. You can follow Launch at Launch and MailChimp and Snap Terms. Yes, Snap Terms and Bing. Thanks for sponsoring the program. We'll see you all next time. Boom. You guys crushed it.